Have you ever considered that one of the most ingrained habits of your life, the simple act of taking a daily shower, could be quietly undermining your health as you age? For decades, it was the undisputed benchmark of good hygiene and personal responsibility, a societal expectation woven into the very fabric of our modern lives. We were taught, often from a very young age, that starting or ending the day under a stream of hot, cleansing water was not merely a preference, but an essential component of being a considerate and well-adjusted member of society. This ritual became synonymous with waking up, with washing away the grime of a long day, with personal freshness, and with a fundamental sense of self-respect. But what if that lifelong ritual, a source of profound comfort and an unquestioned marker of cleanliness, is now a hidden threat, a Trojan horse that we willingly invite into our homes each day? A growing number of doctors, dermatologists, and geriatric specialists are sounding a quiet but urgent alarm, revealing how this seemingly harmless routine can, after the age of 60 or 70, begin to chip away at the very foundations of your well-being, your skin, your immune system, your cardiovascular stability, and even your precious, hard-won independence. This emerging perspective isn't just about the ecological call to save water, nor is it a fringe theory. It is a critical piece of medical advice rooted in the physiological realities of the aging process. It is about understanding that the body you have at 75 is a world away from the resilient, self-repairing vessel you inhabited at 35, and it requires a new, wiser, and far more nuanced approach to care. The signals are often subtle at first, easily dismissed as minor annoyances of getting older. If you've ever stepped out of the shower feeling inexplicably tired, a bone-deep weariness that seems disproportionate to the simple act of washing, or noticed a persistent nagging itch that just won't quit no matter what lotion you apply, or wondered why your skin feels tighter, more fragile, and drier with each passing year, then this is the crucial information you've been missing. We are about to embark on a deep and thorough exploration of the most compelling, evidence-based reasons why experts are urging seniors to fundamentally rethink their relationship with the shower, transforming it from a mindless automatic habit into a mindful, deliberate act of self-preservation. This journey is about protecting your health, safeguarding your comfort, and reinforcing your ability to live life fully and on your own terms. And the final reason we'll uncover, a reason that delves into the intricate connection between our bodies and our minds, may fundamentally and permanently change the way you view the very concept of self-care in your golden years. Explores the delicate balance of your aging skin. As the years gracefully pass, our skin, the body's largest and most exposed organ, undergoes a profound and multifaceted transformation that is as natural as the changing of the seasons, yet it demands a significant shift in our daily care practices. The vibrant, plump, and resilient skin of our youth, which could tolerate all manner of environmental insults and recover with astonishing speed, gradually gives way to a more delicate and demanding version of itself. It naturally and inevitably grows thinner, particularly the epidermis, the outermost protective layer. The production of sebum, the complex mixture of natural oils secreted by the sebaceous glands that once kept it supple and waterproof, slows to a mere fraction of its former output. Furthermore, its intrinsic ability to produce and retain moisture diminishes significantly due to a decrease in natural moisturizing factors like hyaluronic acid. This combination of factors means that the very shower routine that felt so wonderfully refreshing, invigorating, and cleansing in your youth can become actively and progressively harmful in your 70s, 80s, and beyond. A long, hot shower, which might feel like a comforting and luxurious escape, acts upon mature skin like a harsh industrial solvent, methodically stripping away the essential lipid barrier that serves as your body's most critical protective shield against the outside world. This natural mantle of oils, a microscopic layer of ceramides, cholesterol, and fatty acids, is your built-in defense system, performing the dual role of locking precious moisture inside and keeping a host of external irritants, allergens, and pathogens out. When this barrier is compromised or washed away day after day, the skin becomes parched, vulnerable, and prone to a cascade of debilitating problems. It may start to crack, flake, and develop a persistent, maddening itch known medically as pruritus, which can disrupt sleep and severely impact one's quality of life. This is not merely a cosmetic annoyance or a minor discomfort. Those tiny, often invisible fissures in a dry, compromised surface can become open gateways for bacteria, inviting potentially serious infections, chronic inflammation, and conditions like steatotic eczema, also known as winter itch, which presents as painful, cracked, and scaly skin resembling a dried riverbed. The very act intended to promote cleanliness becomes a direct cause of dermatological distress. The real-world implications of this physiological process are illustrated perfectly in the story of Harold, an 81-year-old retired engineer who took immense pride in his unshakable morning routine, a ritual that had defined the start of his day for over 6 decades and always included a prolonged, scalding hot shower. To him, it was a symbol of discipline and vigor. Over a period of several months, however, he developed angry, scaly red patches on his arms, shins, and back that refused to heal. The itching was relentless, often waking him at night. He was baffled and increasingly frustrated, cycling through an expensive array of over-the-counter lotions, heavy creams, and ointments, none of which provided more than fleeting relief. It was only after a visit to a dermatologist, prompted by the persistent and loving concern of his daughter, that the true culprit was finally identified. The doctor explained in clear terms how Harold's cherished daily ritual was the primary antagonist in his skin's struggle for health. Reluctantly at first, viewing the change as a concession to age, Harold agreed to the doctor's prescription, cut his showers back to just twice a week, switch from the very hot water he loved to a more gentle lukewarm temperature, and replace his fragrant high-lather soap with a mild, unscented, pH-balanced cleanser. He was also instructed to pat his skin dry gently rather than rubbing it vigorously, and to apply a thick, ceramide-rich moisturizer to his damp skin immediately after. Within a single month, the transformation was nothing short of remarkable. The angry redness subsided, the incessant itching ceased entirely, and his skin began to feel comfortable, supple, and healthy for the first time in years. Harold's story is a powerful and resonant reminder that our bodies are not static entities, but are in a constant state of change, and our habits, no matter how deeply ingrained, must evolve in harmony with them. For seniors, a little less time spent under the shower head can translate directly into a great deal more comfort, health, and peace in your daily life. Satsimba, protecting your body's first line of defense. Your skin is far more than just a simple inert covering designed to hold your body together. It is a dynamic, living organ of incredible complexity and a crucial frontline component of your immune system. Its surface is not sterile, nor should it be. It is home to a vast and complex ecosystem of trillions of microorganisms, including bacteria, fungi, and viruses, collectively known as the skin microbiome. This bustling community of microscopic life exists in a delicate symbiotic balance, helping to maintain a healthy, slightly acidic pH and actively training our immune cells while fighting off harmful pathogenic invaders that could otherwise cause disease. When you shower too frequently, particularly with harsh antibacterial soaps and very hot water, you are engaging in an indiscriminate act of biological warfare against your own body. You disrupt this delicate and protective balance, essentially carpet bombing the ecosystem and washing away your own microscopic guardians, leaving your body's primary fortress undefended and vulnerable. For an older adult whose systemic immune system is already naturally less robust than it once was, a phenomenon known as immunosenescence, this can have serious and far-reaching consequences. With age, the body's ability to mount a swift and powerful defense against infection is reduced, and the healing process for any wound or breach in the skin is significantly slower. Therefore, preserving every available defense mechanism becomes exponentially more important. When the skin's physical barrier is compromised by overwashing, as we explored previously, and its microbiological barrier is simultaneously stripped away, it creates an open and irresistible invitation for trouble. Opportunistic bacteria like Staphylococcus aureus, viruses, and fungi can more easily penetrate the weakened defenses, turning what should be a minor and self-resolving issue into a significant and stubborn health concern. A small, seemingly innocuous patch of dry, cracked skin on the leg could rapidly develop into cellulitis, a deep and painful bacterial infection of the skin and underlying tissues that can spread quickly and, in some cases, become life-threatening if it enters the bloodstream. A simple scratch on the forearm from a rose bush in the garden might become stubbornly infected, requiring multiple rounds of antibiotics to resolve. This is precisely what happened to Clara, a 77-year-old former schoolteacher who had always been meticulously clean and took pride in her personal hygiene. When she began experiencing recurring skin infections on her shins and mysterious, itchy rashes on her torso, her primary care doctor looked beyond the obvious dermatological symptoms and wisely inquired about her daily habits. It turned out that her twice-daily showers, a habit she believed was keeping her healthy, were systematically stripping her skin of its protective microbiome and its natural oils. By making the conscious shift to showering just 3 times a week, using only gentle, fragrance-free products, and diligently applying a moisturizer designed to support the skin's barrier, she finally broke the frustrating and painful cycle of infections. The profound lesson here is not to be less clean, but to be smarter and more strategic about what cleanliness truly means. True hygiene for a senior is not about achieving sterile skin, which is both impossible and undesirable, but about preserving the natural, protective balance that your body has perfected over a lifetime of evolution. It's about working with your body, not against it. Status: the hidden dangers of the bathroom. Beyond the gradual and often invisible damage to skin integrity and immune function, there is a far more immediate, acute, and potentially life-altering risk associated with the frequency of showering in later life: the profound danger of falls. As we age, a constellation of physiological changes in our vision, our inner ear's balance system, our muscle strength, and our proprioception, the sense of where our body is in space, converge to make the bathroom statistically one of the most hazardous rooms in the entire home. The unique combination of wet, slippery surfaces, the physical challenge of stepping over a high tub ledge, and the potential for sudden dizziness or lightheadedness from the heat and exertion creates a perfect storm for a catastrophic accident. Consequently, each and every shower you take represents another voluntary entry into this high-risk environment, another roll of the dice. Now picture the scene in vivid detail. The room is filled with dense steam, clouding your vision, fogging up your glasses, and obscuring potential hazards. The floor, even with a bath mat, is slick with condensation and stray water from the shower curtain. The intense heat from a long hot shower can cause a physiological response called vasodilation, where blood vessels expand, leading to a sudden and significant drop in blood pressure. This can make you feel lightheaded, weak, or even faint. For a healthy 25-year-old, a brief moment of dizziness is a minor event, quickly shaken off. For a 75-year-old, that same moment of dizziness can be the precursor to a fall that results in a fractured hip, a traumatic brain injury from a concussion, a broken wrist, or a loss of independence that can be devastating and permanent. The fear of falling again can then lead to a cycle of reduced activity, muscle weakness, and an even greater risk of future falls. This was the hard and painful lesson learned by Walter, an 83-year-old retired postal worker who cherished his independence and his vigorous morning showers. He lived alone and managed his own home with pride. One morning, the steam was particularly thick, and as he stepped out of the tub-shower combination, his standard cotton bath mat slipped just an inch on the wet tile floor. That single, seemingly insignificant inch was enough to throw him off balance, sending him crashing hard against the vanity and then to the floor. The result was a fractured pelvis, an agonizing wait for his neighbor to hear his calls for help, and a grueling 6-week recovery period in a rehabilitation facility, followed by months of physical therapy. The experience profoundly and irrevocably changed his perspective on his daily routine. Upon returning home, he worked with his son to make his bathroom a safer space. They installed multiple, securely anchored grab bars inside and outside the shower, placed a high-quality, non-slip mat inside the tub, and bought a sturdy shower chair. Walter embraced a new routine: 3 showers a week, always seated comfortably and securely on his shower chair, using a handheld shower wand to control the water flow. He didn't sacrifice his hygiene or his dignity, but he radically and intelligently improved his safety. Reducing the frequency of your showers is a simple yet incredibly effective harm reduction strategy. It directly minimizes your exposure to one of the most significant dangers you face in your daily life. It is a proactive, empowering decision that protects not just your bones, but your confidence, your autonomy, and your ability to remain in your own home, living a safe and independent life for as long as possible. Your heart, your blood flow, and the heat of the shower. Our circulatory system, the intricate and miraculous network of arteries, veins, and capillaries that carries life-giving oxygen and nutrients to every cell in our bodies, also undergoes significant and predictable changes with age. Blood vessels, particularly the major arteries, tend to lose their youthful elasticity and become stiffer, a condition known as arteriosclerosis. The heart, a remarkable muscle that has been beating tirelessly for decades, may pump with slightly less force, resulting in a modest decrease in cardiac output. This means that the entire system can become less efficient and less responsive to sudden demands. This is why doctors often check for subtle signs like cold hands and feet, slow healing sores on the lower legs, or a drop in blood pressure upon standing in their older patients. Surprisingly, and for many counterintuitively, your daily shower habits can have a direct, powerful, and sometimes negative impact on this vital and now more delicate system. While a pleasantly warm shower can initially feel wonderful by causing blood vessels near the skin's surface to expand, a process called vasodilation, and temporarily boosting blood flow to the extremities, there is a hidden risk for seniors, especially when the water is excessively hot or the exposure is prolonged. The body can struggle to regulate blood pressure and blood flow effectively in response to this thermal stress. For an older adult, particularly one who is already managing a pre-existing heart condition, chronic low blood pressure, hypertension, diabetes, or other circulatory disorders, this rapid and widespread vasodilation can be genuinely dangerous. The sudden expansion of thousands of blood vessels in the skin causes a significant amount of blood to be redirected away from the body's core and the brain. This can trigger a sharp, symptomatic drop in blood pressure, known as orthostatic hypotension, leading to pronounced dizziness, a feeling of profound fatigue that can last for hours, lightheadedness, or even full fainting spells, syncope. This is a terrifying prospect for anyone, but especially for someone who may be living alone or is already unsteady on their feet. Consider the case of George, a 79-year-old with well-managed hypertension who loved to linger in long, hot showers to soothe his arthritic joints. He had recently started experiencing unnerving dizzy spells immediately after showering that left him feeling weak and frightened. After nearly falling while getting dressed one morning, he mentioned it to his cardiologist during a routine checkup. The doctor immediately pinpointed his shower routine as the likely cause of these hypotensive episodes. George was advised to switch to shorter, lukewarm showers and to limit them to just a few times a week. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The dizziness vanished completely. He felt more energized, more secure, and less anxious throughout his day. The goal for a senior's shower should be gentle stimulation and cleansing, not a thermal shock to the system. By choosing moderation, warm, not hot, water, and a less frequent schedule, you can support your circulation without overtaxing your cardiovascular system. It is a simple, no-cost adjustment with the profound benefit of protecting your heart, your brain, and enhancing your overall quality of life. Conserving your precious energy. As we enter our later years, Many of us become acutely and wisely more conscious of our personal energy as a finite and incredibly precious resource. Each day presents us with a certain energy budget, and how we choose to spend it directly determines the quality, productivity, and fulfillment of that day. We often fail to recognize that the seemingly simple, routine act of taking a full shower is a surprisingly demanding activity on the aging body. It requires a significant amount of sustained physical exertion, standing for an extended period, often on a slippery surface, which engages dozens of stabilizing muscles, bending down to wash your legs and feet, which can be a challenge for those with stiff joints or a bad back, reaching up and around to scrub your back, and then the often underestimated effort of thoroughly drying off your entire body with a towel, which involves twisting, reaching, and rubbing. For someone who is managing chronic conditions like arthritis, joint pain, heart failure, COPD, or a general reduction in stamina due to sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss, this entire process can be a significant and often overwhelming drain on their daily energy reserves. It can be the single most tiring thing they do all day. Now, take a moment to think about what that expended energy could be used for instead. A daily morning shower might completely deplete the very vitality that could have been channeled into a refreshing walk in the park with a friend, an hour spent tending a beloved garden, the focus and strength required to prepare a fresh, nutritious meal from scratch, or the simple but precious energy needed to be fully present and engaged in a meaningful conversation with a grandchild or a loved one. Margaret, an 80-year-old with a deep passion for her meticulously kept flower beds, came to this realization on her own. She noticed that her habitual daily morning shower, which she had always considered non-negotiable, often left her feeling too tired and washed out to do any meaningful weeding or planting in the afternoon. Her favorite hobby was becoming a source of frustration. After reading an article on the topic, she decided to experiment by shifting to a relaxing evening shower every other day. She found that this simple change had a remarkable effect. She had a newfound burst of morning and afternoon energy to devote to the hobby that brought her so much joy and a sense of purpose. This is not about promoting laziness or neglecting hygiene. It is about practicing strategic energy management. By being more intentional and mindful about when and how often you choose to bathe, you can conserve your physical and even your mental stamina for the activities and interactions that truly enrich your life, making each day more vibrant, engaged, and joyful. The surprising connection between showers and your state of mind. Perhaps the most overlooked, nuanced, and profound reason to thoughtfully reconsider your showering habits lies not in the tangible realms of your skin, your bones, or your heart, but deep within your mind. The act of bathing is far more than a mere physical act of cleansing. It is an intimate personal ritual that can deeply reflect and also affect our emotional and mental well-being. For many seniors, the daily shower provides a quiet, reliable moment of solitude and a comforting, predictable structure to the day, especially when other routines, like going to work, have fallen away. However, because this ritual is so personal and routine, significant changes in hygiene habits in either direction can be a powerful and telling indicator of one's inner state. As we age, life can bring new emotional challenges. Feelings of loneliness after the loss of a spouse or friends, anxiety about health and the future, or the weight of grief can settle in, and our most basic habits can shift in unconscious response. Some individuals may begin to overbathe, using long, frequent, and often very hot showers as a form of self-soothing or escape. The shower becomes a sanctuary, a place where the warmth and steam provide a temporary buffer against a harsh or empty world, or a way to seek a small semblance of control when other larger parts of life feel chaotic and unmanageable. Conversely, and just as significantly, others may begin to avoid bathing altogether, with the frequency of their showers declining dramatically. A profound decline in emotional energy, a hallmark symptom of depression or a state of apathy known as anhedonia, the inability to feel pleasure, can make the physical and mental effort of a shower feel monumental, overwhelming, and ultimately pointless. For someone struggling with depression, the motivation to perform even basic self-care tasks can evaporate. Doctors, caregivers, and family members are becoming increasingly aware of this powerful connection and will often gently inquire about hygiene habits, not to pass judgment, but to listen for crucial clues about a patient's underlying emotional health. Take the poignant example of Sharon, a 76-year-old woman who, in the months after her husband of 50 years passed away, started taking 2 extremely long hot showers every single day. She later admitted to her daughter that it was the only time and place she didn't feel the crushing weight of silence and loneliness in her large, empty home. The showers, however, were taking a toll, leaving her skin raw, cracked, and painfully irritated. A gentle, compassionate conversation with her doctor helped her recognize that the excessive bathing wasn't a solution, but a symptom of her unresolved grief. By finding a healthier, skin-friendly frequency of 2 or 3 showers a week and, more importantly, seeking support through a local grief counseling group, she began to heal both her skin and her heart. Your bathing routine should ideally be a source of gentle comfort and appropriate cleanliness, not a tool to mask emotional distress or a reflection of self-neglect. Being mindful of this intricate connection is a powerful act of self-awareness, ensuring that your daily rituals are truly in service of supporting both your physical and your emotional peace. The Siyasas, redefining cleanliness for a vibrant later life. If there is one fundamental truth to carry with you from this exploration, it is that the small, seemingly mundane, everyday choices we make often hold the greatest and most definitive power over our long-term well-being. The act of bathing, a ritual so routine and automatic that most of us rarely give it a second thought, stands as a perfect and potent example of this principle. For those of us navigating our senior years, the conversation around showering needs to be elevated far beyond the simplistic binary of clean versus unclean. It is, at its heart, a reflection of how well we are listening to the unique and ever-changing language of our own bodies, how we honor our evolving needs, and how we choose to live out our days with accumulated wisdom, intentionality, and grace. The ultimate goal is not to blindly adhere to a rigid, one-size-fits-all set of rules dictated by an article or a doctor, but to cultivate a deep and personal awareness of what your individual body is telling you on any given day. There is no universal right answer that applies to every person in every situation. The deeply ingrained cultural belief that more showering is always better, that daily or even twice daily bathing is the gold standard of health, is just as flawed and potentially harmful as the outdated and judgmental idea that showering less is an automatic sign of neglect or decline. Both extremes miss the point entirely. The true path to healthy, sustainable and intelligent hygiene in your later years is about a patient and forgiving search for your own personal equilibrium. It is a dance between habit and need. If your skin consistently feels tight, itchy, dry, or irritated after you shower, that is not a sign of aging to be stoically endured. It is a clear, unambiguous signal from your body to pull back on the frequency, the temperature, or the harshness of your soap. If, on the other hand, a quick warm shower leaves you feeling genuinely energized, refreshed, and comfortable without any negative side effects, then that is the right and beneficial choice for you on that day. I encourage you to grant yourself the permission to let go of outdated societal beliefs and even your own lifelong habits that may no longer be serving your current reality. This chapter of life is uniquely yours to author and to shape. Let your shower, however frequent you choose for it to be, transform from a mindless chore or a source of unacknowledged risk into a deliberate, mindful moment of peace and intelligent self-care. Every single step you take to align your habits with your body's present needs, whether it's adjusting your weekly routine, installing a grab bar, recognizing an emotional signal in your bathing patterns, or simply giving yourself more grace and less judgment, is an act of profound self-respect and empowerment. You are not just getting older, you are adapting, you are growing wiser, and you are discovering new and better ways to thrive. And that in itself is a beautiful, powerful, and inspiring thing to celebrate every single day.